If you want someone to talk about thinning your backlog, you've come to the right place. Who am I, you ask? I am the Wiz! Hello everybody, and this is my new segment I'm calling Thinning the Backlog, where I take not really old games, but older-ish games that came out, let's say, 6 months plus after its release date, and are still on current hardware, or can be played on current hardware, that I'm going to discuss and talk to you whether it's worth getting through your backlog and playing it and enjoying it. And the first game I'm going to talk about is the DioField Chronicles. DioField Chronicles came out in November of last year. It got not great ratings. It's at an Open Critic of a fair 71, with 42% of critics recommending it. If you're looking to purchase it right now, the lowest I've seen it on Deco Deals, which is for console games, is $30. I think it's $30 right now at GameSpot if you want to buy it used. Or if you want to get it on PC, the lowest price I've seen is in GG Deals for $30. It's not $30 right now, but that is the lowest I've seen it, so you can wait for a sale when that happens. Now, what is the DioField Chronicles? I would say it's a lot like the game Growlancer. And Growlancer was a game that married RTS with Japanese RPGs, where you're playing as about maybe 3 or 4 units that are hero units, and you are moving them around a map in real time, like a strategy game, essentially. So, yeah, it's like a real-time strategy game with Japanese RPG characters in this. I would say that the look of the game is decent. It's got some nice flourishes. The way that the cutscenes are done is pretty good. But I will also say that the art style, when it comes to the character models and the way the game looks in real time, is not great. It looks a lot less detailed. It's not that impressive. It kind of looks janky in some aspects, and it looks less detailed as you look on there. So this is not really that big of a looker, but it's definitely not bad. So if you're looking for a big graphical showcase, this ain't it. Combat is simplistic but good so far. You select a unit and give them directions on where to move, attack, or capture. Each unit has special abilities that cost EP to execute. This is what usually is like MP with skills and magic in most JRPGs. You can replenish the EP by grabbing jade crystals which are on the ground, or by using potions to do that. There isn't really a fog of war, and what a fog of war is in RTSs is if your units are not in a specific area, they can't see what's there. So a lot of RTSs uses fog of war to enhance the strategy aspect of it. Some let you turn that off, most don't. But there isn't a fog of war in the traditional sense in this game. What happens is that most of the battles are sectioned off, so you have these group of enemies that you have, and this thing you have to capture, and that's focused in on in the battle. And once you do that, then the next section goes on, and then you see those enemies populate, and then you do that, and then you do it again in another area until the entire battle is done. So that's how combat usually goes with Fog of War. So far, in about 3 hours and about 5 missions, combat has been pretty straightforward. You select 4 characters from your pool of soldiers. If you have more than 4, you can use one as support, but they'll get less XP. You'll be able to use their EP abilities if they're supporting from that specific character, but like I said, XP is less with that character. What happens is you see an enemy, you position your characters, and then you fight the enemies. It's pretty simple with that way. The game wants you to emphasize the importance of placement. They talk in the tutorial about if you place your character behind an enemy, it'll do more damage. But I gotta be honest, in the first few missions, it really does not matter. They're actually pretty easy, and I'm doing it on normal right now. So they're pretty easy when you get started. Each battle has a number of quests that, if completed, will grant you certain things. Beating the mission with at least one character alive will net you gold. Beating the mission with no one dying or being incapacitated will net you 1 SP. I'll get into that later. And in some missions, you can also find a hidden treasure chest that'll net you an item that still really hasn't materialized as to what it is right now, even after about 5 or 6 missions. As you complete missions, your character gains XP and level up. Leveling up your characters boosts their stats and gives you AP, and AP is then used to boost different passive stats, to further enhance the characters that you have. One of the first things that you'll notice when you play this game is that the menus are an absolute mess. I'm going to go through what the menus are right now. When you press the menu button, which is Y on the Xbox Series X, and probably on PC, it gives you 5 options: equipment, edit unit, map, quests, and system settings. Quests, settings, and maps are pretty self-explanatory. You know what they are. Equipment is where you equip your gear for your character, as well as spells and items that every fighter can use in battle. However, equipment is where you also level your abilities. Underneath the items that each character has equipped, like their weapons or accessories, is a bottom insignia on the photo that lets you consume the AP you have earned. Now, you have to pay attention to this thing, because it looks like it's just part of the photo, but once you select it, it lets you go ahead and spend the AP that you've already earned. It makes it really easy to forget where it is and when it's time to do it, because the game doesn't really tell you where to do it. It relies on you to find it on your own and then have you select everything. And there's nothing on the menus or in the game as well that says, hey, you can level up this ability with the X character. Go to the equipment screen to do that. So that becomes a bit of an issue if you tend to forget. But you would think that would be in the edit unit section, but all edit unit does is it's the layout of the characters you want to bring into the next battle. It gets confusing, and oftentimes I've went to edit unit thinking to level up my AP abilities, but really have to go to equipment. So you have to keep that in your mind as you're playing to make sure that you're going to the right area. Speaking of equipment, you don't really level up to gain abilities, which is another thing I found weird. Abilities such as Assassination or Hurried Heal are attached to specific equipment, not earned by the characters leveling up. You can earn skills for each type of unit, such as Healer and Archer, via a skill tree that is not in either the equipment or edit unit menu, but it's at a person inside of the counter in the castle that is your base. But this gets a little more confusing, because to get the SP, which is what you need to level up those skill trees, the way to get that currency is that you need to earn it by doing specific missions and battles. That means if you have any issues with battles, either one of your guys gets incapacitated, or you don't do the battles fast enough, you will often end up having to repeat that mission, even if you succeed, in order to get those SP. That pretty much means that you're going to be forced to grind more and more as the game goes on. Either repeat battles to level up the characters, or to get enough SP to actually progress through the tree. It's odd that the menus are not only labeled inefficiently, but the means to customize your characters are spread all over the place. It would just be easy to put all that by pressing Y, look at edit unit, and then, oh, okay, so this is where I can do my loadout and I can level up my abilities. Or I can then level up my skill tree here. It doesn't do that. You have to do all these extra steps to do that, and it's just wildly inefficient. Also, it's odd, it's odd that there's so many steps to get into a battle too. Whether it's a story battle or repeated battle. Again, this would be easily just by pressing something on the menu and then just saying, go here and start this mission. In this game, you have to go to the map, press the map section that has the unit that will allow you to go to either the story battle or to a repeated battle. Again, really inefficient, and it would have been a better idea to make this work a little bit more smoothly. After 3 hours and 5 battles, grinding seems to be something you might need to do. On normal difficulty, I breezed through the initial missions, until I hit a roadblock when I went against 2 boss enemies that are 3 levels higher than any of my characters. Of course, I got stomped in that mission. So there are no warnings that let you know that these enemies are going to be on the map, or anything telling me that probably I should level up my character before doing this mission. So then you're going to be dealing with a lot of trial and error here. So if the game's not going to tell you that, oh, you're going to have a level 12 here, so you might want to level your guys to either that level or up, it means it's going to be a lot of trial and error. So you're going to be dying a lot in certain aspects of the game. It means repeating battles will be necessary. If you want to repeat battles to shore up missions you didn't complete, that's fine. That's for completionists usually. However, the easy nature of the game's first few battles means you're repeating those missions to get through those tougher missions. So it's not that if you want to... Now it's not like, oh, if I want to complete the game, I want to repeat missions. Now, you probably have to repeat those missions just to grind enough to get through that character. I can already sense that despite the DioField Chronicle being fairly easy in the beginning, it's going to be a huge grind fest to continue in its tougher, more engaging battles. I can also sense that as the battles get more complex, the controls will be a problem. The game has two options to select characters. Select one specific character, or hold a button to bring up a slowly enlarging circle to get a group of people. You know, a D-pad macro would have actually helped this game immensely, where you press a direction that coincides with a certain character and add them to your current group, and then you just select where you want that group to go, and then you're set. Instead, if you need 3 people in 3 separate places to go to one specific location, you either have to guide the cursor to that soldier and have that specific soldier go to that specific place, or you have to individually use the bumper buttons to move and select those characters specifically and then move them that way. It really is inefficient, and it should be a lot easier where if you want people to engage in the strategy aspect of this game, that they're just going to have to fumble with the controls a lot more. So it's going to get to a point, I have the feeling, it's going to get to a point where when those tougher battles happen, I'm probably going to have to not even think about doing those special missions where you have to do it at a specific time, or that some characters are not being incapacitated or whatever else they come up with. And that sucks, because the controls shouldn't be the thing that deter you. It should be the difficulty of the game, and you would want to get better as the game gets more difficult. But I already sense that's going to be a problem. Now, some of you might say that this would be rectified if this was on PC, and it is, and you can use keyboard and mouse controls, which I think you can. I would agree. But then the game would be way too easy, since the game is designed, albeit very clumsily, with a controller. But since I'm playing it on the Series X, I find myself struggling with the controller to just get specific units to do specific things. An order queue, where you can tell the person, okay, move here, and then when you move here, and then when you move here, attack this guy, and then when you attack this guy after 3 hits, go ahead and do your ability, or something along those lines, I think would have done wonders for this game. Now, there is an ability where you can tell them to do 3 separate things, which is usually just move here, or capture unit, move here, or attack, or move here, then move here. They allow you to have 3 options like that. I think it needs to be a lot more robust than that. It needs to be where I want you to move here, then move here, do this ability. Or move here, and then point to this direction and attack people that are in that direction, in that sense. That queue would have really helped. Instead, I have to constantly babysit these units. So, for example, something that would happen is I would have one unit attack another enemy, and while that unit is doing its thing, I'm having my other 3 units go to another area to take care of a group of enemies, and I have to babysit those 3 units to make sure that nothing happens, and then we're set, and then after that, I'm done, and I'll go have those 3 people do other things. What I would have liked is if there was a queue that would say, once that one unit I have is done killing that one enemy, to then go ahead and meet your other characters here to assist them. Instead, I have to make sure that I am looking on the other side to make sure that they are attacking that specific unit and they're done, so then I can select that character and then move him myself. A queue would have been a lot better in this situation. Instead, it feels like I'm babysitting more than I really am strategizing in this game. I am having fun with DioField Chronicles, but if I'm being honest, I'm not looking forward to progressing through the tougher levels. If I'm already having issues with the way the game controls, I'm assuming it gets worse as the game goes on and the battles become more complex. Also, tying abilities to equipment without any way to get those abilities attached to characters, like for example Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, seems like a weird way to get abilities, and I wouldn't be stunned to find that certain overpowered abilities will be only attached to one specific item, giving you that Sophie's Choice dilemma of choosing which type of equipment you will have for its characters, and if it's worth losing certain abilities that you've grown accustomed to. After 3 hours, I am going to continue the DioField Chronicles and just hope for the best that it improves as time goes on. But with an uninteresting story and characters, the gameplay will need to pick up and get real interesting and real better fast. Other than that, I will probably have a second part to this, maybe a third, but we will see as that goes. So what do you think of this segment of Thinning the Backlog, where I discuss a little bit older games that maybe you should return to and give it a shot if you haven't already? I really think it's interesting that a lot of YouTubers and a lot of websites don't return to older games or try older games when they have come out. Not every person's able to play every game. But I think finding games that are cheap for, let's say, 20, 30, 40 bucks, when they used to be 70 or 80, is something that I think a lot of gamers would be interested in saying, like, hey, I'm done with this game, I don't know what to play. Well, actually, this game came out 7 months ago, and it's pretty good. You should probably check it out, and it's only 30 bucks. I think gamers would like to know that stuff. So I hope that I can provide a specific service that maybe other reviewers don't have. Well, anyway, that is it for Thinning the Backlog, and this is it for this episode of I Am The Wiz. Friday, I'm going to have another gaming roundup. Saturday, I'm going to do a review of Spirited Away with Tim Shackman. And then Sunday, I'll have a random thing on the movie channel and podcast as well. So look forward to that. Well, until then, I am The Wiz. Talk to you next time. Bye.